it's turning spirit of justice where Apollo's about to have a real bad time. Let's all be there for him, okay? There's no way this could be true. But no, I can't stop now. If this is the truth, it's the only way forward to solving this case. The other victim who Queen Amara channeled was...
Listen, son. Even if you manage to prove me innocent tomorrow, I don't have long to live.
I wondered why he phrased it like that. You would have thought he would say, I'm going to die soon, but he wouldn't say that if he were already dead. That makes a lot of sense.
There is no escaping death now that it has its sights set on me.
Dirk knew everything, but he couldn't bring himself to tell me.
I have one more big secret. I'm afraid I can't tell you what it is. I'd be betraying a certain someone if I did.
He couldn't accuse the love of his life. The sad truth is, the other victim channeled by Amara was... Take that! Take that! What? You can't... That's not possible! The defendant, Dirk Sodmati, is the one Queen Amara channeled. He's the other victim. This is insanity. Pokonga! Oh, Apollo, what are you... Do you realize what you're proposing? Objection. Objection. I demand an explanation, Mr. Justice. I don't know when or why Dirk was murdered, but the facts and evidence speak for themselves. And this is where they've led me. I see. After Inga's murder, Dirk and Maya were the only ones in the tomb. But if one of them was actually dead and being channeled by Amara... But it can't be! Can it? Dirk's bloodstain at the scene of the crime was the clincher for me. He wasn't even injured, so how could he have possibly bled that much? The only logical explanation is Dirk had also been murdered. Objection. That's enough. Your explanation cannot be the truth, and you would not dare to claim to have proof to support your assertion. Nayuta, I wish it weren't true. I wish with all my heart that I'm wrong, but as much as I don't want to believe it, yes, I can prove it. Dirk's killer must have hidden his body. It would have to be somewhere nobody would ever look. And there's only one such place. You truly have proof. And the fastest way would be to actually have someone go check the tomb. Go check the tomb? But why? Because you're really gonna have me say it was a sarcophagus? Because I believe Dirk's killer in his body here. Take that. You would suggest Queen Amara's sarcophagus, the only place in the tomb that no one would dare to look. You've never brought this up before, Mr. Justice. Why would you suddenly bring it up now? Plus, a killer would soon become trapped by hiding in there. But a body, well, that's a horse of a different color. Is that the expression? Which means...
I believe we must search the sarcophagus at once. Your Eminence, being that Queen Amara yet lives, I trust we may now open it.
If we must. Your Majesty, I believe Detective Skye is still there at the tomb. Let's contact her at once and have her conduct a full investigation into the matter. I'm sure her heart is pounding out of her chest right now.
Now then, Detective Skye, your report if you please.
I'll start with my findings. Yes, please. Please let me be wrong about this. I just want things to be as they were. A search of the sarcophagus revealed a body that appears to be several days old. body? Detective Sky? Tell me it wasn't Dirk. Tell me my whole theory was completely off base. I have a photo of the body, and I have positively identified it as... Dirk Sodmati. Dirk! No! Why? Why'd this have to happen? Damn it, Dirk! Answer me! How can this be?
Ha, ha, ha. A traitorous snake, the very head of the insurgency, murdered. Oh, what a joyous day. Those fools shouting for change and revolution will finally return to whatever rocks they crawled out from under. Damn, alright. Calm down. Shut up. He's going through something.
What was I even fighting for? Apollo. What am I supposed to do now? I...
Son. Amara's gonna channel him for us, is he? She... Maybe? A lawyer. Should never look the way you do right now. A dragon never yields. That's cool that they didn't actually play the voice line, because it's distant for Apollo now. Even when wounded, a dragon bites down hard and never lets go till its dying breath. It glares, it roars, and it latches its jaws firmly onto its prey to the bitter end. That's what lawyers do to get to the truth.
But, Dirk, what if the truth is that you're...
Apollo, in court tomorrow, you may find yourself faced with a truth that is difficult to accept. But I know you, and I know you can handle the truth no matter what it turns out to be. I know that because I believe in you. You're my son, after all.
You believed in me that much, Dirk? Dirk, I think I finally understand. I can't yield. Not now, not ever! Not after Dirk believed in me despite knowing what was about to happen. Besides, Dirk left me with two things I must do. Are you alright, Apollo? Sorry about that, Mr. Wright. But I'm fine now! Paul Lowe. Detective Sky! Yes? How sure are you that the body's been there for a few days? I'm positive. No autopsy's been performed yet, but I'd say it's been at least 3 days. Fortunately, the low temperature inside the sarcophagus kept it from decaying. Oh, and the chest area bore 3 gunshot wounds from a small caliber weapon. I believe they are the cause of death. Dirk's corpse photo added to the court record. More than 3 days had passed since his death. He was shot 3 times in the chest. He had a blue butterfly pendant on him, interestingly. At least 3 days, huh? 3 gunshot wounds from a small caliber weapon, or 1 big gunshot wound from the 4-bullet gun, I guess. At least 3 days, huh? That means Dirk was already dead by the time he came to visit me back in the States. Then, who was channeling him? Amara, of course. I think it would have to be someone who could get into and stay in the US without arousing suspicion. Yet also had a solid cover story so they wouldn't be seen as missing. I believe this is who was channeling Dirk when I saw him in the States. Wouldn't it still be Amara, or am I being dumb? Take that? This is who was channeling him? I don't think so, Apollo. You sure? I guess it is a bit of a stretch.
That's the understatement of the year.
That's gonna leave a mark. Wait, okay, but I'm lost. Sorry, who? Maya? Wait, why can't it be Amara? Oh, because she was acting as Nana until that time. Sorry, that is correct. That is fair enough. That makes enough sense. I mean, Maya, I guess. Because we don't have proof that she was... Oh, no, it had to be Maya because the blood is on top of the rope. I'm an idiot. I'm the one who said that. There are only a few spirit mediums, so the answer should be pretty obvious.
The defense will offer an answer within the realm of possibility this time.
That was a blunder on my part. I'd forgotten that Amara would have been masquerading as Nana till that time. I thought that what they were getting at when they said they had to have a cover so they wouldn't be seen as missing, and her cover was that she was dead. But Maya, I guess. Take that? Maya? Oh, I see. She was being held hostage at the... Oh, right, duh, because... Well, right. Because according to... So I don't know how Dat's got across the border. Unless he's also being channeled and he's dead. They implied... He said he beamed across, Dirk did, which I assumed to mean he took like a small boat or something and it took a very long time. But now what they're getting at is that whoever channeled him once they got back to the States. And so they're saying Maya. And she was just doing that while under the hostage control of Inga and or Atishan. I don't really... I feel like that... Doesn't that make other things not make sense? Wait, no, because Amara channeled Dirk until today. So the blood... I'm confused myself, but anyway, she was being held hostage at the time, so it seemed only natural that she wasn't around. Right, and do you remember what she said earlier? So please, just tell me, what exactly are you hiding? Sorry, but I promised Dirk I wouldn't say. Oh, right, yeah, I did forget that she said that like 20 minutes ago. You made a promise to Dirk? Mm-hmm. A pretty big one. Dirk didn't want his own death to be known. The other members of the Defiant Dragons would lose all hope if they found out, and that would snuff out the flames of revolution for good. Miss Faye, Dirk told you to keep quiet about this, didn't he? I guess it's no use hiding it anymore. Yes, I promise not to tell. Dirk made me promise before he died. So I was right then. Made you promise before he died? So we're saying Dirk did go to the tomb to meet with Inga, just not at the time we thought he had. So if he was dead for several days, then he didn't get dizzy because he was killed then, he got dizzy because he got unchanneled then. And then re-channeled after. Unchanneled by Maya, and then once he went down there, Maya left him, and that would explain why she'd been exhausted because she'd been channeling someone for that many days. And then Amara re-channeled him when down there or something? No, now I'm getting everything mixed up in my head. So I was right then. Apollo? There's something I need to tell you. It's about, Dirk's final moments. I'm listening, Miss Faye. What happened in his final moments? It was soon after I was kidnapped. Dirk paid me a visit in that tomb where I was being held captive. Oh no, you weren't being held captive until that point. Okay, got it? I'd say it was a few days before Minister Inga's murder. Are you about to testify? No.
Hey, young lady, time to get you up and out of here.
It's that revolutionary guy.
I'm here to rescue you.
You are? Why?
I figured things were a little too quiet with that stem-sucking scumbag, so I started digging around. That's when I found out you'd been abducted.
Why would a rebel help me?
Let's go before it's too late.
It already is for you, pal. Long time no see, a rebel blowhard.
Inga, I know you're up to something, and I'm going to find out what. Ah!
That's got smart. You become a real thorn in my side, see? So it's time for you to be pushing up daisies. Dirk!
Did you really think a bee shooter like that could kill a dragon?
What the? What are you, some kind of freak? Nuts to this! Nuts to this. Dirk was shot several times, but he barely even flinched. He sacrificed himself for me. These ropes! I've got to help you!
Relax. It's going to be okay. Sorry things turned out this way. It doesn't look like I have much longer.
No! Don't say that!
You're a spirit medium, aren't you? When I'm gone, I want you to channel my spirit.
Stop it! Don't give up like that!
If you do, untying a rope like that will be child's play.
No. Please, hang in there. You can still make it.
Promise. Promise me one thing, young lady. It's about my son.
Dirk is talking about you, Apollo. He said he wanted to see you one last time. So he asked me to return to the US and channel his spirit. He really said that? He also said he'd been meaning to visit you for years, but kept putting it off. And that this was his last chance. You just show up here without warning after all this time? What gives?
Came all this way to see you, son. Come, rejoice.
Right. Why don't you tell me the real reason you're here? Dirk, you really did come to the US because you wanted to see me. I guess this means it was Inga that hid Dirk's body in the sarcophagus after Maya left the tomb. Apollo, you can't stop now. Dirk would want you to keep pressing on. I know, Miss Faye. And I won't disappoint him.
Defense, if you are ready to proceed, I would first have you answer this. Do you believe the accused's death will impact what we know about this case?
Yes, and I believe I can explain everything now.
Very well. Your explanation, please.
One thing I'm not clear on yet is how Jove justice comes into all this. Because the arson attempted assassination on Amara must come into play to this one somehow. Dirk entered the tomb at 3 p.m. the time the hostage exchange was to take place. Or rather, Dirk, as channeled by Miss Faye, did. Now, by the time he entered the tomb at 3 p.m., Minister Inga was already dead. I say that because we know the minister was murdered at 2 p.m. Khura'In was ready to just say forget it, but we know that for a fact. But there was someone else in there. This person was already hiding in the tomb waiting to channel Dirk in place of Miss Faye. That'd be Amara. Take that! It was you, wasn't it? The fact of the matter is, Queen Amara killed Minister Inga at 2 p.m. She then went to his private quarters and channeled his spirit. The minister, thinking he was going to be late, hurried to the tomb for the hostage exchange. But once in the tomb, Queen Amara stopped channeling Minister Inga and hid herself. So, are we still saying Minister Inga had that disorder, and so when Amara killed him, she just... Or did she, like, re-channel Dirk that? No, because Maya was channeling Dirk till 3 p.m. I don't understand yet. But once in the tomb, Queen Amara stopped channeling Minister Inga and hid herself. Then, when Dirk entered at 3 p.m., she snuck up from behind and forcibly drove Dirk's spirit out of Miss Faye's body by knocking him unconscious. Him or slash her. Drove his spirit out of her body? Impossible. Or used, like, the banishing thing. Objection! 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 Actually, there is a way to do that. With a Magatama of parting, that is. Using one, anyone could drive a spirit out of a person's body, even if it refused to leave. Are you telling me that the extra pale brown Magatama in the tomb was... I hadn't thought about that. That it was... That's right, Prosecutor Samadi, and you've seen one in action before. So it's just a different color, or... You saw how the glowing red Magatama sent the High Priest back to the Twilight Realm. And how it turned to spent pale brown afterwards. I completely forgot about that, if I'm honest. Even if I'm dishonest, there's no way I can hide the fact that I completely forgot about that. In other words, the brown Magatama found in the tomb looks that way because its power had been used up in pushing Dirk's spirit out of Miss Faye's body, right? Was I just, like, staring into the sun when that happened? I don't remember a brown one ever. I probably passed out as soon as Dirk's spirit left my body. I was exhausted after channeling him for so long, after all. After that, Queen Amara must have dressed Miss Faye in her usual outfit and tied her up. I'm not sure where she got the outfit, but we can assume she had it all planned out. You're a queen, you can make one. You have sway somewhere, even in hiding, Queen. Then Queen Amara must have changed into Dirk's clothes, smeared blood onto them, picked up the knife, and channeled Dirk's spirit. That's how she made it look like Dirk had committed the crime. And that's how she escaped, right under our noses! Into the detention center. Yeah. I don't know, Apollo. The whole thing still seems a bit far-fetched. Dirk, what was going through your mind while all this was unfolding? Dude was probably having a breakdown. Couldn't understand what was going on. So ultimately it was all for naught. I'm sorry. So ultimately it was all for naught. Nayuta? Those dreams of revolution Dirk was always spouting. They placed nothing but false hope in the minds of the people. And in the end, they were simply fantasies. Nayuta, how can you... Shatora! Karma has spoken. The dream of revolution has withered on the vine. Its fate is sealed. The other insurgents will soon wake from their shattered dreams. No. Dirk's dream can't die like this. I'm not going to sit back and let that happen. I can't and I won't! Nayuta, don't forget that Dirk's been proven innocent. His name is no longer tainted by the charge of murder. Now the rebels and their sympathizers who have been calling for his release can't be charged with abetting the accused. So the revolution is far from over, it's only just begun. Objection. He's figured something else out, though. No, Dirk has not yet been proven innocent. You merely indicated the possibility of his innocence. What do you mean? Dirk is indeed dead. However, what if it was Dirk who killed Minister Inga while being channeled by Miss Faye? And while the crime could have occurred at 2 p.m., you have yet to substantively prove it. Or do you have conclusive proof that the time of Minister Inga's death was at 2 p.m.? I mean, Dats was incarcerated, so unless you know someone else who was at the bazaar while Olby and his dog were there, and laughed and set off a dragon snot snap, like, well, no, I don't, but... It seems further testimony will be required of me. As it would appear that I have fallen under suspicion, I would like to state my case. Prosecutor Sanmari, the rebellion must be snuffed out once and for all. You must prove Dirk Sanmari to be the foul murderer that he was. And every last insurgent and their sympathizers must be found guilty under the Defense Culpability Act. As you wish, Your Eminence. Why is Nayuta doing this? Khura'in shouldn't have him under her thumb anymore. Amara's not a hostage, so what gives? Nayuta, what's left to chain you to her like this?
Very well then, Queen Amara. Please proceed with your additional testimony.
I can't claim to understand what's been going on with him this entire game, Apollo, so don't look at me.
Witness testimony.
Think we're gonna get into up-tempo?
You have no proof.
Yes, we are.
Well done, lawyer. You have painted me as a killer with nothing but your silver tongue. However, you have no evidence proving your distasteful theory. Furthermore, Dirk could have committed the crime while being channeled by Miss Faye. Now let us end this charade. For the eternal glory of Khura'In and its people.
Do you understand now, you putrid pepper? There is no point in defending Dirk any longer. It has all been in vain. We broke through him earlier because he actually said Apollo.
Let it go and move on, right?
Well, not today.
Your theories are but a pillar of salt that crumbles at the slightest breeze. But no more. This ends here and now.
The defense may proceed with its cross-examination.
Didn't find any contradictions outright just yet, but the facts with the facts having changed.
Cross-examination. You have no proof.
And we know Dirk was shot with 3 bullets. I feel like that changes the nature of something, but I haven't quite figured out how just yet. And I suppose if the one in the photograph is means that Dirk's pendant was blue, it implies that Amara's pendant was the pink one, right? And that's why he was all like cagey about it. He was like, "No, that's not. It's mine." You know, he was all weird about it. So I presume that's where this is getting at, but I don't know how to say that, obviously. I assume we have to push on some stuff first. Well done, lawyer. You painted me as a killer with nothing but your silver tongue. Hold it! Convincing others is all part of a lawyer's trade, so I'll take that as a compliment.
You would, wouldn't you? I suppose you have deceived countless souls with your lies. But I should not be surprised, considering you learned from him.
Him? You mean Dirk, right?
Yes, the man who deceived and seduced me, a grand priestess with his silver tongue.
We are still talking about the case, right?
Surely you have heard of a lady falling for the wrong man before. But to think that I, of all people, would fall under that devil's spell.
Wow. How do they ever get together in the first place? Let alone procreate.
I would advise all here today to beware this lawyer's silver tongue, lest you too be unjustly painted as a criminal as I have been.
However, you have no evidence proving your distasteful theory. Hold it! I haven't figured it out yet! I admit I don't have any solid evidence. Yet. But you're the only one who could have committed the crime.
What on earth do you mean?
Including Miss Faye, there are only 3 spirit mediums in Khura'In. I am going to be pretty livid if we find out that the fingerprint on Amara's necklace belongs to Amara, though, because I was the one who said we should check the fingerprint, and they said, is there any evidence that was just to a third party? And I said the fingerprint, and they called me out for it, and they damaged my health. But I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Furthermore, when the crime scene was first discovered, Queen Khura'In was with me and Mr. Wright, while Miss Faye was tied up in the tomb. That means that the Dirk we saw after the minister's murder could only have been channeled by you, Queen Amara.
Insolent lawyer.
Hey! Forgive us your mercifulness!
Really, Your Majesty?
Objection. But have you considered the following defense? What if there was, unbeknownst to us, another spirit medium in Khura'In? Objection! Oh, come on! What are the chances? Shut that up! You lack the evidence to support your claim that Queen Amara is the killer, which is why you have had to use the process of elimination to zero in on her. It therefore stands to reason that you would have to rule out all other possibilities as well. Well, can you eliminate the possibility of another spirit medium defense? Of course I can't! Under the circumstances, Apollo, there are 2 ways to establish Amara's guilt. We either prove she killed Inga, or prove she was in the tomb. Which one can I actually prove that she was in the tomb? I can prove that Queen Amara was in the tomb when the murder occurred. Well, really, both if the victim's blood was on it.
It seems you are ever bent on painting me as the killer.
Well, if the shoe fits!
Very well. Let us see some evidence that proves I was at the scene of the crime. You do have some, do you not? There is nothing to prove I was even at the scene of the crime.
I assume what we're getting at, because they're different pendants, is that this was Amara's pendant, right? But this is a situation where I don't know if Apollo will have the context to make that solve as I will, so I'm just gonna keep trying to push. Hold it! By simply changing into Dirk's clothes and channeling his spirit, it is a fact that the killer altered the crime scene.
How very perceptive of you.
In trying to accomplish everything, the killer would have been pressed for time. Also, just bears noting, I was completely certain it was Khura'In who was the killer for like the first 5 hours of this case. Although I obviously, there was a lot of stuff that I couldn't have known at that point. And may have committed an error that could prove crucial to this case. And sometimes the significance of certain pieces of evidence can change in the face of new facts and circumstances. Why don't you take another look at all the evidence we have?
You think I'll see something in a new light? Is there anything from the tomb that's taken on a different meaning now?
The way to find out is to reconsider each case based on a current understanding. That sounds like they want me to put the pendant there, right? Let me just push on everything else first. Furthermore, Dirk could have... by the way, what does Phoenix say at the end? If Amara channeled Dirk, she must have been at the scene of the crime. If so, she may have left something behind. Excuse me. If so, she may have left something behind.
Sure, but the question is, did she?
Well, if nothing else, you can always try to get her to testify about something else.
Right, but first, maybe a quick review of the evidence.
The fact that they keep telling me to look at the evidence and look at how something might be changed, knowing what we know now and with the new evidence presented, I think we have to say the pink pendant is hers. But, again, just don't want to be very, very careful here. Furthermore, Dirk could have committed the crime while being channeled by Miss Faye. Hold it! You're saying that Dirk who entered the tomb is the one who killed Minister Enga.
I am. I stand firm within the prosecution's original charge against the accused. The only issue is whether that Dirk was alive or dead.
And it's a pretty major issue.
Oh, I beg to differ. For here in Khura'In, death is not the end. It is merely a change in one's address, for the Twilight Realm is only the next door over.
Is it really?
It is. Those who have only recently passed away may call upon you in the night. Such occurrences are quite common in our kingdom.
She's kidding, right? In all the time I've spent here, I'm happy to say it's never happened to me.
Me neither.
Well, I mean, you kind of heard Dirk's voice earlier, but it was more of a flashback, I guess.
You need not fear death. Embrace it along with your guilt. Then may you begin your journey to the Twilight Realm.
Now let us end this charade for the eternal glory of Khura'In and its people. I just have to know what Apollo says to this. Hold it! Eternal glory.
Once the King of Traitors has been judged and the rebellion quelled for good, peace and prosperity shall return to our fair kingdom. Then shall the blessings of the Holy Mother usher in an age of eternal glory.
Was Queen Amara as the Grand Priestess of Khura'In once more, the people would be freed from subversive elements. Faith would blossom anew.
Oh, you are too kind. But I have no intention of resuming my position as Grand Priestess.
What?
She enjoyed her time too much.
I relinquished my position as Queen and Grand Priestess to my sister Khura'In. And now that my would-be assassin is gone, I am truly free at last. Perhaps I shall take a trip or expand my horizons with new training.
Queen Amara?
It was like she's totally over being Grand Priestess and Queen.
In that case, I shall introduce you to some wonderful classes that I am taking.
If Amara channeled Dirk, she must have been at the scene of the crime. Right, sorry, this is at the end of this dialogue. Okay, none of that changed anything. I could, I guess, try pushing this again and saying, I can prove you killed him. I would assume it would make the same thing show up, because either way, it's the same. But I'm just kind of curious what happens if I say I can prove you killed him? Oh, sorry.
Evidence, huh? Yes. Here in this Hall of Justice, evidence is everything. Is it not so in your country, too?
The nature of this has changed since we already pushed it once. There are two ways to establish Amara's guilt. Prove she killed Inga, or prove she was in the tomb. So let's say prove she killed Inga. I assume it changes the next bit of testimony. Queen Amara killed Minister Inga, and I can prove it!
Well, now you seem quite confident. How very intriguing. Well, I must say.
There is nothing that proves it was I who killed Justice Minister Inga. Okay, so the one that's easier to prove is probably that she was in the tomb, right? So I think I should swap that back, but I'm just curious what happens if I push on this. Hold it! So you didn't leave any evidence behind. Is that what you're saying?
Did you truly believe you could trick me with such an ambiguously phrased question? Were I to answer in the affirmative, you would twist my words into an admission of guilt.
It was worth a shot.
You should know that you cannot prove anything through the deceit of others. If there is something worthwhile to say, then let the evidence speak for itself. You think I wouldn't if I could? Now do you see? All is idle speculation in the absence of evidence.
My reasoning for why I think the proof she was in the tomb thing is easier is because I get it's got Inga's blood on it, but that just means she was nearby when he was killed. Doesn't necessarily mean it was her, right? I mean, according to me, the pendant proves either, so it shouldn't matter which one I pick, but which one I pick? Sorry, which one I pick? I'm just gonna try the pendant on both, because I assume I'm gonna get it wrong. I usually get it wrong. There's nothing to prove I was even at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Objection! Oh, thank goodness. Queen Amara, does this pendant look familiar to you?
Why, that is...
We found it in the tomb, and it has the minister's blood on it, which means it was probably dropped in the course of the crime.
Objection. And? I fail to see how it is relevant to your argument. Did that not belong to the accused?
That's what I thought, too. After all, Dirk had said it himself.
He said that?
Yes, but it was a lie, because I believe he was covering for someone.
Covering? How? For who?
There's a certain piece of evidence that shows the pendant isn't Dirk's, and that would be the photograph that shows his is blue! Take that! That's a photo of the accused's body, is it not? Yes, it is. And I'd like to call your attention to a certain spot in it. This right here proves that the pendant that was found in the tomb wasn't Dirk's. Well, I mean, this one was also found in the tomb in a way, but take that! You know what I mean! You will notice an object near Dirk's left arm. It's an identical pendant, except it's blue. Oh! Now that you mention it. Don't you find that a little strange? Why would he own two of them, but in different colors? Here's what I think. The pendants were meant to go together as a pair.
A pair?
If the blue pendant was Dirk's, then what about this pink one with Minister Inga's blood on it? Who do you suppose it belongs to? Just twiddling her thumbs.
Objection!
Objection.
Sorry to disappoint, but no fingerprints were found on the pink pendant.
What do you mean? Oh, right, he didn't know it opened. Duh.
Therefore, we have no way of knowing to whom it belongs.
Objection!
But that's where you're wrong, Prosecutor Sadmati.
I'm guessing you didn't know that this pendant is actually a locket.
Come again?
Now this is where it gets interesting. When we opened this locket up, we found a faint fingerprint inside, on the back of the lid to be exact. What? No! So now the question is, to whom does the fingerprint belong? Queen Amara! It belongs to you, doesn't it?
It seems I truly rendered the witness speechless this time around.
This cannot be! Mother, tell me it does not belong to you!
Nayuta,
Think about it, Queen Amara. Dirk must have realized that you were channeling his spirit, and he had probably already figured out who the minister's killer was. And yet, he still claimed that the pink pendant belonged to him.
But why would he do such a thing? You really don't know?
He was protecting you. Because he loved you. He loved you until his very last breath and beyond.
I have one more big secret. I'm afraid I can't tell you what it is. I'd be betraying a certain someone if I did.
Dirk knew everything, even that he was being used. But he kept quiet, all for your sake.
Dirk, why do you always...
Well, Queen Amara, Dirk, the one whose love for you never wavered all these years. Are you going to betray him now?
Dirk, I...
Slow-mo with her tears. This cannot be. I refuse to accept it.
Queen Amara, are you ready to confess to your crime?
I can deny it no longer.
But this seems too simple to be true, as we haven't had a moment where we go into Apollo's forehead and we haven't even brought up the charges from the attempted assassination. The fire, I mean.
I can deny it no longer. The truth is, it was I, Amara Sekatar Khura'In, who slew Minister Inga.
This is similar to a theme we've heard before, but it's not quite the same, is it?
That's preposterous! Why?
This is beyond belief.
Mother, why would you... Forgive me, Nayuta. I never wished to cause you such sorrow. But I had no choice. It was the only way. The only way!
So, in the end, Queen Amara and Dirk Sadmati, I suppose this means that they were unable to reconcile while he was still alive.
I don't think the state of the kingdom or the incidents of the past would have allowed that. They were prisoners of their shared history, so to speak. Queen Amara, there's something I need to know. So, they're saying she did just run away with him, thinking he was a killer? Didn't feel like he was... Because he wasn't able to prove it wasn't him, she got mad and... What is this character?
Queen Amara, there's something I need to know. You had staged a near-perfect crime, so why did you bring this pendant into the tomb with you? You should have known it could come back to haunt you. I do not really understand it myself. I had nearly been assassinated by my own husband, yet I could not bear any hatred toward him. I was unable to discard this, or part with it even for a short time. As with Dirk, I have never stopped loving my husband for the past 23 years. Mother. So she really believes it? That Dirk tried to assassinate her?
Huh. I don't get it. I guess people are weird, but she's so weird. Well, I can find out the Khura'In scene actually belongs to Amara.
Your Majesty, is it not time? Time to declare Dirk innocent? I would ask that you do this for my beloved who now dwells in the Twilight Realm.
Is Amara somehow not the killer either? I don't know. I don't understand any of this game.
Very well, then. Your Eminence, Prosecutor Sadmati, if you have no further objections.
This cannot be. My mother...
I have no objections.
Dirk, I did it. I finally did it. I proved your innocence. But...
Very well, then. Being that Queen Amara yet lives, we can no longer charge the accused with an assassination that never came to fruition. As for the murder of Minister Inga, the truth has been laid bare for all to see. Therefore, I will now pass judgment upon the accused, Mr. Dirk Sadmati.
Hold it! Hold it!
Is what I meant, obviously.
Your benevolence? I cannot accept this.
Is something the matter, Your Benevolence?
Queen Amara is lying! It makes no sense, but Queen Amara would not have killed my father.
What's with her all of a sudden? Is this some sort of lingering affection towards Nana?
Rafa. Speak the truth, Queen Amara. Did you really kill my father? Yes. There is no mistake.
She has confessed to the crime, thereby clearing the accused of all suspicion. As such, I see no need to continue these proceedings.
Barthead! Hornhead! Are you going to let this stand? Dirk's been proven innocent, and he's about to be declared not guilty. Even so, something doesn't feel right.
Apollo, if you have any doubts, now's the time to raise them. After all, the courtroom is a place for finding out the whole truth. It's all up to you.
There are definitely things that don't quite add up. Does this mean that the whole truth hasn't been brought into light yet? Should I push to continue this trial?
Yeah, I should! Look, Rafa's practically begging you here, man. I assume where this is going to head is she's going to channel... Jove?
Seance him? Your Majesty, I have a feeling we haven't discovered the whole truth, and the only way we'll ever find it is to continue this trial. Hornhead!
Very well then. Will the defense please tell us this? What important fact about this case is yet to come to light?
Probably the motive. If we're assuming that Queen Amara didn't do it, because she seems, if a little weird, probably too nice, and Rafa's insisting that she didn't do it, then the motive seems the thing to be bringing into question the most. I assume what we're going to get is if once we seance Jove, we're going to find the real killer of both cases, was yet to really come to pass. I thought it was weird when they were bringing it up with Amara, but because it's weird to just bring her into the story suddenly, have her be like, oh, she and Dirk loved each other so much, and she loved him so much that she would bring the pen, and then there was, no, she killed a dude. You know, like it just feels weird. But I was willing to go along with it for a bit because that's how I feel about Inga and Garon's characters. They just show up for like 2 lines and they're like, we're just the evilest bastards you've ever met. Yeehaw! Character development, who needs it? We love abusing children. So I was like, maybe that's just how some of the characters in this game are. The motive, I think, is the most sensible thing to ask about. Queen Amara, there's something I still don't understand. What was your motive for killing Justice Minister Inga? That is a fair question, and one that I shall now answer. It was for the future of this kingdom that I slew Inga Karkul Khura'In. To avert further tragedy, his death was an unfortunate necessity. Can't wait to find out what you mean by that next time on a Sturdy Spirit of Justice. That is all for now. Much fairer contradictions we've been asked to point out of late. I have beefs, but they're being pushed to the back more and more as this progresses. Did not see it coming that Dirk was already dead. No, I didn't. Nor that Maya was channeling him in the States. Right, okay, I was gonna say, if that were true, why wouldn't she just unchannel her, but like before, once she got to the States and be like, hey, here's what happened. Dirk was killed by Minister Inga. Go arrest him, please. His body's in the tomb. But she did make the promise to Dirk, and that's serious to her. So that would explain why not. And of course, he wouldn't want to do it because it pins the blame on Amara, if not him. It either would pin the blame on Maya or Amara, basically, if it weren't him, because it had to be someone who could channel, and he knew that. I mean, Garon seems like a decently likely actual suspect because she was getting really panicked the more truth we found, right? And if all that she had to lose was that Dirk was going to go free. Like, I get she hates the insurgency, but she would have got to him one way or another. If she still has Inga's secret police, maybe. I know they were planning to launch a coup against her, but now that Inga's dead. So it seems like she was being weirdly panicked for someone who didn't actually have a personal involvement in the case. Either case, this one or the fire from 23 years ago. And she just seems so weirdly, blatantly, I'm a total and complete bastard for no reason, and have no reason to be this way. In a way that either means to me that we're gonna learn some sad truth about her that made her this way, doubt, or that they're just saying she's a bad guy. And that would make her the most likely suspect for everything at large. I don't know, this case is just bringing me back and forth and to and fro. But I'm much more enjoying the ride in these latter portions. But it just... it's like... That was such a cool contradiction that I had to use the pendant. And that was, I think, a logical conclusion to... I like that it's not something you don't have to think about. When you see the blue pendant, you have to think about, well, what does that imply for the pink pendant? Well, it probably implies they're part of a pair. Who would the other Mechlas belong to? And then you do some reasoning of, oh, well, it's the photograph of the two of them and it was their little pendant. Of course, it's Amara's. That places her at the scene of the crime. Like, I like the mental legwork you had to do there, but I was so hesitant to even try it because of how historically when I'd figured something out, like the fact that the pendant had a fingerprint on it from an unknown third party, the game has punished me for it. And that's one of the major frustrations of it is when it goes through a portion that I dislike, like the whole thing with this, like the seance vision, for instance. It's not like, okay, that was 10 minutes of gameplay I didn't really like, we can move on, because now it makes me question all of my gameplay moving forward because I'll try something that seems equally plausible to me. I'll be like, well, no, it can't be that because the last time I tried something that I thought that was that plausible, it didn't work out for me. And I never know when they want Apollo to figure out something first before I can say it, even if I had figured it out ahead of him, or when I'm supposed to just take the facts like exactly as they are. So anyways, there's a lingering frustration here with me in this game, but this case in particular is progressing much more coolly as it goes on. And that is all for now. Next video on the channel is going to be some more Celeste REX playthrough where we are carrying on to more B-sides. I think it is the Hotels B-side. Yeah. Celestial Resort Hotels B-side, after which will be more of this. I'm quite curious at what the mysteries of the fire 23 years ago are about, but I don't know how we're going to actually bring them to light as such. A seance seems the most likely way, but I'm quite curious. But that is all for now. Thank you so very much for coming around. Hopefully I'll see you around. Admiral's gonna be out of here now. Peace! Themes in this game, and yet it gets hooked in there. It's basically just one or two guitar riffs playing with a bunch of layering synths on top, but it's so clean and not a single part is wasted. It just knows exactly when to bring that maximally grungy guitar in